So, thank you all for being here today. We have several members of Congress here, and we're here today at one of America's preeminent academic institutions on a very important day and a very important time. Throughout history, Columbia students have contributed to the great storybook of America's life and thought. Visionary American leaders like Alexander Hamilton and John Jay and the Jewish leader Gershom Shashis knew the self-evident truth that was at the heart of this country and once at the heart of this university, and that is that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. They should not be infringed. The founders and the great leaders who had come through this institution in the past believed in religious liberty. They believed in democracy. They believed in morality and virtue and the dignity of every human person. They believed in the free exchange of ideas, and they detested mob rule. We are standing here right now on the steps of the Low Library. In this very building right behind us, Columbia University once awarded Winston Churchill an honorary degree, and it was Churchill who said, "It is manifestly right that Jews should have a national home where they may be reunited." We believe in that principle. And today I'm here to proclaim to all those who gnash their teeth and demand to wipe the state of Israel off the map and attack our innocent Jewish students this simple truth: neither Israel nor these Jewish students on this campus will ever stand alone. Today, Hamas issued an endorsement statement of the protesters on this campus. They called them the future leaders of America. It is detestable. All of this has to be said because the cherished traditions of this university are being overtaken right now by radical and extreme ideologies. They place a target on the backs of Jewish students in the United States and here on this campus. A growing number of students have chanted in support of terrorists. They have chased down Jewish students. They have mocked them and reviled them. They have shouted racial epithets. They have screamed at those who bear the Star of David. Enjoy your free speech. They've told Jewish students who wear the Star of David to leave the country. And shamefully, some professors and faculty have joined the mobs. Things have gotten so out of control that the schools canceled in-person classes, and now they've come up with this hybrid model where they will discriminate against Jewish students. They are not allowed to come to class anymore for fear of their lives, and it's detestable. As Columbia has allowed these lawless agitators and radicals to take over, the virus of anti-Semitism has spread across other campuses. By some counts, as many as 200 universities have a similar form of protest right now. At Yale, a Jewish student was stabbed in the eye with a Palestinian flag, and 45 students were arrested. At NYU, pro-Hamas protesters were shouting from the river to the sea. Anti-Israel encampments are popping up at universities all across this country. The madness has to stop. The madness has to stop. We just left a meeting with students, Jewish students, who told us of the heinous acts of bigotry that they have experienced simply because of their faith. Their bravery is inspiring, much more inspiring than some of the activities we're seeing here. And they should never have to confront such hate on an American college campus. It's such a revered institution. Anti-Semitism has been growing in America, and it's clear why. Powerful people have refused to condemn it, and some have even peddled it themselves. From university professors to public officials, people in positions of authority have denied the horrific facts of September 11, 2001, the attacks on the United States that happened right here in New York City, and they've attempted to excuse or to ignore the barbaric attack of Hamas in Israel on October 7, 2023, where Israeli women and children were savagely raped and murdered, and infants were cooked in ovens. Crowds of radical activists have chanted death to America and on our own streets in this country, and sub-public officials have refused to condemn them. Others have openly defended these acts on campus, and the harassing and the intimidation and the threatening of innocent Jewish students simply because of who they are. They've called that peaceful protest, and some have even gone as far as calling for the state of Israel to be eliminated. These are words we expect from Ayatollahs in Iran not American lawmakers and not American students. And unsurprisingly, it has given way to threats and violence in a generation of students who feel safe in their own classrooms, who don't feel safe in their own classrooms, or where they live or where they worship. Let me say this very simply. No American of any color or creed should ever have to live under those kinds of threats. That is not who we are in this country. Sadly, Columbia's administrators have chosen to let the threats, the fear, and the intimidation of the mob rule, to overtake American principles like free speech and the free exchange of ideas and the free exercise of religion. They have co-opted First Amendment arguments to protect genocide and to elevate the voices of anti-Semitism. They have proven themselves to be incapable of achieving their basic responsibility, which is keeping students safe. We just can't allow this kind of hatred and anti-Semitism to flourish on our campuses, and it must be stopped in its tracks. Those who are perpetrating this violence should be arrested. And I am here today joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafik to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos. As Speaker of the House, I am committing today that the Congress will not be silent as Jewish students are expected to run for their lives and stay home from their classes hiding in fear. In the House of Representatives, we've already acted to address anti-Semitism on campuses. We have passed a number of statutes to address this matter, and we call upon the U.S. Senate to act upon our legislation. I have a couple of my colleagues here that I'd like to share a few words. I'll turn it over first to the chair of the House Education and Workforce Commission, Virginia Fox, Congresswoman Virginia Fox, North Carolina. Virginia?
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Columbia University is in a free fall. Following the explosion of this anti-Semitism, the Education and Workforce Committee started investigating. So far, the committee has uncovered key failures in the administration's response to the anti-Semitic attacks and displays embroiling this campus. First, President Shafik presented false testimony to the committee regarding the removal of Professor Joseph Basad. No action was taken. In addition, the administration has suspended 2 Jewish students for a made-up chemical attack. So I have a message, President Shafik, and a message for you all too. The inmates are running the asylum.
That's right.
Take back control of this once great institution. You took action last week. It's time to act again. If not, the committee will pursue every possible avenue to create a safe learning environment for Jewish students.
Coming today, I'm so happy to welcome the Speaker to New York City, and we appreciate his leadership in coming here to condemn the anti-Semitism that has been allowed to fester on this campus. We just met with a group of students who told us that not only have they been bullied, but they've been, many of them, assaulted. They have been spat on. They have had to walk the halls of this campus to see swastikas painted. These are clear examples of anti-Semitism, and it's shocking to see that it's happening in the most diverse and welcoming city in America. It is truly outrageous, and it's clear that the president of this university cannot control the campus. She cannot and will not hold students who are doing these types of anti-Semitic activities accountable, and that she cannot keep the students who are of Jewish faith, who have paid a lot of money and have worked very hard to get to an Ivy League institution like this, that she cannot keep them safe. And that is why I join my colleagues in calling for her resignation. Thank you.
Campus, and you are proud that you've been endorsed by Hamas. You are part of the problem. When you cheer on the fact that you enjoy Hamas and Hezbollah, you are yourself part of the problem. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to join with you here today in calling for the immediate resignation of the President of Columbia. She has failed her duty. She is not keeping students safe. And we see on this campus the hate-filled speech that is carrying through this country. Of you students that support Hamas are an absolute abomination. It is shameful, shameful that you would support a terrorist organization that butchered and beheaded and burned innocent women, children, and babies. I went to Israel a month after the attack on October 7th, and I watched the butchering and brutality of a terrorist organization. If you want a ceasefire, the fastest way for a ceasefire to occur is for Hamas to surrender and to release the hostages. And if you can't call for that, it is clear that she has no intention of getting this university under control and ensuring the safety and well-being of every student. That is what is entitled to students attending this institution. If the students are not safe, if the institution will not act, Congress has a responsibility to do so, and we will.
That's right. Mr. Speaker. Good job, Mike. I want to thank my colleagues for sharing their thoughts here. The institution reopened and was renamed Columbia College. It was a shift from the tyranny of the monarchy to the freedom at the heart of the American experiment. And now the forces of hatred and oppression once again are on the march. They've begun to try to close Columbia's doors to a segment of students. To every Jewish student listening to us, no matter where you are around the country, you have my word. The U.S. House of Representatives will do everything in our power to ensure that you are safe, you can freely practice your faith, and you can go to school, just like everybody else. We will punish those who have allowed this violence and bigotry to go unchecked. With that, I'll take a few questions. Mr. Speaker, what about the intimidation are not stopped? There is an appropriate time for the National Guard. We have to bring order to these campuses. We cannot allow this to happen around the country. We are better than this. We are better than this, and I'll ask the President to do that, and I'll tell him that very same thing.
Mr. Speaker, what is the House going to do?
Investigating a number of these campuses, there is a nexus to federal funding. If these campuses cannot get control of this problem, they do not deserve taxpayer.
A scholar in the Department of Computer Science.
And what brought you out here today?
I heard that the Speaker of the House was going to be on campus, so I came here to see him. It's my first time on campus in 2 weeks. I've been staying off campus for my safety.
Tell me more about that. What is it like to have to stay off campus because you're fearful for your safety?
It's pretty alarming. I came to Columbia to be a scientist, not to defend my right to exist to anyone. So as a Jewish student and as an Israeli-American person on this campus, it's been bizarre, if I'm honest with you. It feels like I've jumped into a parallel dimension.
Yeah, when you hear some of the things that these protesters are saying, what is going through your mind?
I feel like maybe I'm in a dream and I need to wake up. It's very, very surreal. I feel specifically, as an Israeli person on campus, specifically targeted by some of these chants, the things that they've organized and said. I know that there are some Jews in the encampment who I think maybe are attempting to validate or justify some of the actions happening in there, but as an Israeli person who's patrilineal, so in Israel I'm not even considered Jewish, I specifically feel targeted by what they're saying. Yeah.
What do you think is going to need to happen to change the situation here?
I have no idea. This is the kind of situation where I'm really not sure what's going to happen next. I have no idea.
And you came out today to hear Speaker Johnson. Why did you make this trip? It's pretty monumental when the Speaker of the House decides to come to your university because anti-Semitism has become such a grave threat to your campus, and I wanted to see what he had to say. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear it very well because the mics were very, very low and there were eruptions of chants that had happened, but I'm looking forward to rewatching the clips and hearing what he did have to say. Are you afraid to be here right now? And will you be afraid when you leave here? I mean, it's not comfortable to be here. I'm not comfortable here, and that's really sad because I'm here to do science. You know, I'm here to do science.
This argument that this is about free speech. What is your message to those people?
I don't know if I have a message. I'm just asking them to kind of leave me alone, leave my friends alone. Israeli Americans on campus, we're here like the rest of you. We just want to study.
And what are your thoughts about what is going on in Gaza? Because that seems to be the crux of what these people are upset about.
Oh gosh. I mean, it's terrible. I don't want people to I mean, it's any war, any loss of human life is terrible. I don't have thoughts beyond that. I'm pretty separated from, yeah. I mean, I spend most of my time here in the States. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Reaction to the House Speaker coming to Columbia University, you as a student, what's your thoughts on it?
Honestly, it was difficult for me to hear everything that he said, but what I did get was that he was calling for President Shafik to resign. He was condemning the pro-Hamas demonstrators on our campus, and there was maybe one other thing that I heard, but those were the two main things that I got. And in terms of resignation, I am not on board with that yet. I like to have faith in President Shafik. She's not even completed her first year yet, so I think that there's definitely potential for her to see this through, especially considering the initiative she's taken in this past week regarding NYPD presence and student arrests and suspensions and other forms of disciplinary action. So I think that is promising in terms of resolving this issue one way or another. And in terms of his condemnation of student activity here, which is, I mean, absolutely egregious, that was very encouraging to hear, even if it's from someone who I personally don't really align with in any ways, really. It's nice to know that there are people on the outside who are seeing this for what it is, and are condemning it.
So what do you think of these encampments that have been on campus for the last week, and what do you think is the solution to resolve this situation?
Well, given that students are demonstrating on property that the university owns, and it's in the middle of our campus that we all have a right to enjoy, I think it's time for them to clear out, and I think they have the opportunity to do that peacefully. But if they don't, which is to say if they don't comply, which they haven't been, then I think they need to be arrested. They need to be disciplined, and I think that's what President Shafik has been doing. She's slipped into a lull. I think now no one really knows what that's about, but there's definitely no mistaking that things will spike up again for sure.
What have your experience been on campus like in the last couple of weeks?
I'm a Jewish student with family in Israel, and my experience has been pretty bad. I will say that I'm definitely not representative of all Jewish students in that I do not feel emotionally impacted by this at this point, which is to say that I am not really in any severe emotional distress because I came to terms with all of this in the first semester, which it was just as distressing for me, and but I mean, I can't ignore the fact that it has been it's been very challenging to remain a visibly Jewish student on campus. I was prepping for one of my seders that I was going to a few days ago for Passover, and it was incredibly uncomfortable to walk around my own dining hall and my own campus as someone who was visibly Jewish. I was honestly expecting someone to spit on me or something.
Okay, can you spell your name?
Noah, N-O-A.
Last name?
Fay, F-A-Y.
All right, thank you. And you're what year student at Columbia University?
I'm a senior at Barnard and first year at SIPA, the School of International and Public Affairs.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reactions to the House Speaker's presence here at Columbia University?
I didn't listen very closely to what he said exactly. I was more here to observe and to hear what the students had to say, and they met his speech with boos and chants of "Mike, you suck," which honestly seems a little counterproductive, if you ask me. That's all I'll say on it.
And what's your thoughts on the recent situation on campus and the stances taken by students on the encampments?
I think that the students are incredibly brave and dedicated and passionate, and while I support all of that, I think that the media coverage that this is getting is actually taking away from what is happening in Gaza.
The situation in Gaza and Palestine.
Yes.
And but why do you think so? Like, being that this is a major educational institution.
I think that the university has done a really poor job of handling this. And I'm anxious and nervous about what's going to happen. Threats of bringing in the National Guard are terrifying. And I don't think it's going to help anything. That will be very bad and very scary if the National Guard comes in.
Last night there was an announcement that there could be a cleanup in the next 48 hours. Are you a student here, or are you?
I am. I go to the Columbia Journalism School. I'm a graduate student.
You're a graduate student in the Columbia Journalism School, which is an interesting two questions. So you notice the media coverage. You see the media here. As a journalism student, what's your thoughts towards most of the media coverage towards you?
I think that a lot of the media coverage is iffy. It's really, really complicated, and I don't believe that any media outlet can dive into all of the complications and inner ties of how the U.S. is funding and supporting the war.
Okay, can you spell your name?
YZEPPA.
Last name?
Last name Macias, Macias.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Your name?
Yeah, Grace.
Grace, and you're a student at Columbia University?
Yes, I study here. I study in the CPA.
Okay. Now tell me, what's your reactions to the top-ranking House Speaker Johnson coming here to New York, to Columbia University, in a very tumultuous time in the university's history? What's your thoughts on that?
He sucks. We didn't expect Michael Johnson come here at all. I think he come here to give a self-embarrassing political show. That's why people yelled at him, Mike suck. You should go back, because it's none of his business. He sets fire everywhere. Now he wants to come to set fire in Columbia University campus. We don't want him.
And just to explain to you, like, when you heard he was going to come, were you trying to maybe think of listening to his speech or maybe reacting to it, and hear what he said?
No, we didn't expect him at all, and what I said. And then after I got to know this news, I come here, and also you can see most of people here, we don't like him. We just want him to go back, shut up and go back.
What's your thoughts on the situation on campus? We see the pro-Palestine protest encampment here. There are reports that Jewish students don't feel safe. What's your thoughts on the situation on campus right now?
For me, freedom of speech is a thing we should respect. That's a very big thing of the American democracy. And also, I'm not afraid of the protest students here at all. For me, they are not violent. I didn't see them do anything violent. They didn't break windows. They didn't do things over boundary. They are just expressing themselves. I think I still fight for the. I mean, I'm not like one of the protests. I'm a student here, but still, I respect, and I think we should respect the rights of freedom of speech. And also, I think what makes us feel threatened or scared is the overreacted policy by bringing the NYPD to our campus. So you can see, especially just now, Mike said that he wants to bring the National Guard to our campus. That will even make more, chaos, and people feel threatened or scared. As I said, I'm afraid by our students, protesters. They don't scare us, but NYPD and the actual National Guard, if they want to come to the campus. Most of us, we just want to, study, and we also don't like the policy. President Shafik said, you stay at home, do the Zoom meeting or something. We pay high tuition to come here to study. It's not we pay tuition, come here for Zoom meetings.
What do you think of the President Minoche Shafik's response to the situation? Are you calling for a resignation, or should she step down? What's your thoughts as a student?
You know what? I think this is a little bit complicated. If you see from what happened last year, I think that's even, for me, a sort of overreacted. And this year, the second day, she authorized the NYPD to come to our campus. This is definitely overreacted. This is too much. I think originally protest students, they are owning a specific group, right? And they want to speak. And then, there's no need for the president to bring, again, like NYPD, make it worse and worse and make it like a more chaos situation. This is not necessary. And it shouldn't to be like this.
Good question. here to just, I'm just gonna wander around and think about what I'm gonna say, okay? But it's all, this is the backdrop, right?
Exactly.
They're popping off in the chat.
Like over $100,000 per year in tuition. Like you can't way too fast. Like I can't because like you said.
Oh, there you go. That makes a difference. Yeah.
You see the crowd guy? Yeah. Yeah, I'm done. I can go home. I thought, I already. Now, guess what? Look at the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Not really emotional. Unless one of you wants to. Trust fund
I'm sure how to deal with this.